In today's video, we're talking about the Apache Junction Justice Court. The Apache Junction Justice Court is a misdemeanor court here in Arizona. It's in Pinal County. We see a lot of people charged with crimes out of this court, so today we're going to tell you a little bit more about it. We'll tell you about the court's jurisdiction. We'll tell you about the prosecutors who are in charge of representing the government against people charged with crimes. We'll tell you a little bit more about the judge himself. So let's dive into it. When we're talking about the court's jurisdiction, we're talking about the geographic area over which this court has power. What area of land does this court control? It's important to understand what those boundaries are, because if your crime or the allegation against you happen within the court's jurisdiction, within those boundaries, the court has power to hear your case. But if it happened outside of those boundaries, the court has no control. They have no authority. They cannot proceed forward with you because it's outside of the court's jurisdiction. So let's take a look at what Apache County's jurisdiction looks like. You can see here the court's borders are highlighted in yellow, and there's a blue tint over the land that is within the court's jurisdiction. The major freeways are highlighted here in purple and labeled. We have the Highway 88, we have the Highway 60, and then we have the 78. Now, these are major freeways. A lot of people pass through here on a daily basis as they're traveling all around Arizona. And so this area is patrolled by the Department of Public Safety, Arizona DPS, as well as by the Pinal County Sheriff's officers. They're the ones who are responsible for patrolling this court's jurisdiction. And as a result of that, because they're patrolling those major freeways, the crimes that we see, the predominant crimes that we see out of this court are going to be criminal speeding, reckless driving, and DUIs. These are the big three that we see. From time to time, we'll see things like aggressive driving or driving on a suspended license. We'll also see commercial trucking violations on occasion. But the big three are criminal speeding, reckless driving, and DUI, because those agencies are patrolling those roadways. Now, if you're cited with one of those offenses, what happens next? Those charges are filed and they're delivered to the county attorney's office, the Pinal County Attorney's Office. They're the ones responsible for representing the government, and they bring charges against people and move them through the court process. Pinal County Attorney's Office, so PCAO, is the agency that's responsible for it. It's a bigger agency. It's not like a small city court jurisdiction. They have a lot of offices. They have a lot of different prosecutors in different courts, and it's a big county. Pinal is one of the bigger counties in Arizona. And so what that means for you is that if you've been charged with a crime, you're going to be dealing with a little bit more of a bureaucracy than what you might otherwise expect. Some people will call us and they'll think, because this is my first offense, I've never been in trouble before, I should be able to go into court, have a friendly conversation with the prosecutor, and work my case out, get a deal, get this dismissed or resolved or reduced down. Reality is it just doesn't work like that, because what you're dealing with are policies that are set in place at the top of the Pinal County Attorney's Office, and those big policies will trickle down to all of the different prosecutors in all of the different courts, which means that unless you have a good substantive legal reason for them to give you a better deal, they're not going to do it. They're going to ask you to plead guilty to the charge. So for example, if you go in with the DUI, if you're over a certain BAC, a blood alcohol content, over a certain threshold, they're not going to negotiate with you. They're not going to reduce it down, which is why it's important to bring a defense attorney on board. What we do is we identify problems in their case. We identify where the evidence is lacking or where the government is not going to be able to meet their burden of proof, and in turn get them to deviate from the policy, get them to break those policies so we can get a better outcome for you. There is also going to be a judge, of course. Any courtroom is going to have a judge. Out of this court, it's going to be Doug Coleman, Judge Douglas Coleman. Judge Coleman is not an attorney in Arizona, meaning he never got licensed here. He never took the bar exam or went to law school and passed the bar and got licensed here. Doesn't mean he's a good judge or a bad judge, just means he doesn't have the same background that we do as defense lawyers or that the prosecutor who is going up against you will have. He's got a different set of background than we do, which means that if you're going in there without an attorney, somebody who is licensed, you may be getting kind of strong-armed by the prosecutor. So you just want to keep that in mind. Now, that being said, Judge Coleman is somebody who we have found to be reasonable. He's a former Republican member of the Arizona House of Representatives. He was the mayor of Apache Junction in 1995. Somebody who we consider to be, like I said, a fairly reasonable guy. Don't have any bad examples of bias or anything that's too favorable one way or the other. Traditionally works with us on continuances and gives us what we need to help move the ball forward on our cases. So somebody we don't mind working with if you've been charged with a crime in Arizona could be cited into a worse courtroom. So if you or somebody you know or love has been charged with a crime out of Apache Junction Justice Court, give our office a call. We offer free case evaluations. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks for watching.